Hi guys, here is part 2 of my video on investing from overseas. As an investor, what is it you need to be aware of when you're investing in the UK? How can I guarantee finding all the right people to make the investment work? And who are those people? So the first thing to note here is what's the difference between a foreign investor and an expat. Because an expat is far more powerful than a foreign investor. A foreign investor is someone who lives outside of the UK, they want to put money into the country, but don't necessarily have British citizenship or British residency. Now, in this position, it's a little bit more difficult. If you're an expat, which most of my clients are, you're in a really powerful position because you can live outside of the country, you can get fantastic tax breaks for a lot of these places and like free healthcare and things like this. But you can still benefit from the lending that you would get if you were living in the UK. So a foreign investor really struggles to get lending. It's not impossible, but you have to go through a few creative solutions and it doesn't work for everybody. With an expat, 9 times out of 10, in fact 99 times out of 100, you can get lending on the project that you want to get lending for. It's not specific, you don't need to spend like £300,000 buying in cash and not being able to pull any of your money out and being stuck at a 5% yield. You can still benefit from things like buying for every finance, high cash flowing HMOs. You can still get lending as an expat, which is absolutely phenomenal. With this lending, you will be paying a slightly inflated interest rate. A lot of them tend to start 4% up to 5%, maybe even 6%. But if you account for that when you're doing your due diligence on your house, then it doesn't actually make any difference because you just found a house that's going to pay a really good return anyway. You might get slightly less, but you can still make 20%, 50% or more, depending on what type of deal it is that you're going for. The other thing about lending is you can leverage that money, that initial 25% deposit, you can leverage that up to 100 grand if you put in 25 grand in. So you can buy a house with a lot less money, so your money goes further. That's the beauty of leverage. And on top of that, things like buying for every finance, those deals don't stack if you don't have the option to refinance at the back end. You need to be a person who can get a mortgage, and you can do this as an expat. Like I say, you pay slightly higher interest rates, but it is very much possible. The other thing to know is it often takes a little bit longer. You don't have access to the full range of lenders in the market like most people would. You are limited to a few lenders, but there are lenders out there, which is the main point, and that's why you pay a slightly higher premium on that rate. If you're a foreign investor, you kind of have two options. One is you buy in cash, you wait for about 2 years, and then you begin to refinance all your assets. So your cash isn't lost, it's still in a house, it's still stored in equity, but it's not liquid cash that you can recycle and put into more and more deals. Or you have to team up with someone who is in the UK, who is resident, or potentially with an expat, and team up with them, buy houses together as a joint venture. And then you can cut out that problem in terms of getting lending because you can leverage the other person's position for lending. And if you bring the cash in, they bring all the time, the work, the effort, and probably their ability to get a mortgage. You put the two together and you have a joint venture where you're adding very much a similar amount of value. If you are a foreign investor or you're an expat, there are a few people you're going to need on top of the standard power team to see these deals through to completion in a hassle-free and hands-off manner that suits you, that suits your lack of time and your potentially lack of expertise or your lack of ability to go view these properties. Regards to this power team, you're going to need all the standard people that you would anyway. You're going to be needing a finance broker, you're going to be needing a solicitor, you're going to be needing an accountant. You're also going to be needing your HMO managers, your single let managers, letting agents, service accommodation managers if you're using those. But on top of that, you need someone initially who can help you move that currency from whatever currency you're currently in into British pounds, but also for moving money back out again when you want to spend the fruits of your labour. That is a particular service that you're going to need to be added on. Now, a lot of people use their bank to do this, and I found this actually isn't the best way of doing it. I have someone who runs a forex brokership in London who works very closely with my clients. They nearly always beat the rate on the bank. They can move their money in a way that actually reduces risk and without actually need for a UK bank account. And they do all the work for you in terms of splitting money up, paying it to wherever it needs to be paid, paying it at the right time, but also in terms of planning to get the money back out of the UK and buying and selling at a time where the market is right for you, so you get the best rates. So a lot of people I have investing at the moment from overseas are really benefiting from Brexit. A lot of people hate Brexit. I love Brexit. It's caused the pound to drop. So my foreign investors are buying houses in the UK and getting more pound sterling for their Hong Kong dollar or Qatari riyals or whatever it's going to be. They have more money in pounds. They have a greater buying power, all thanks to Brexit. And I have someone who I speak to quite regularly about the markets when they're moving, just so I'm informed, so I know, but I don't get involved in any of that. And they're completely FCA regulated, so there's a lot of trust there, adds another layer of trust to you investing in the UK. It gives you some extra knowledge and you feel like you're being looked after and catered for right from the start. The next thing you're going to be needing is a sourcer. You need someone who can find those deals for you. They can view the houses, they can stack the deal, they can get all the people, draw all the dots together. And you need someone who actually knows your needs. They need to have sat down with you, either had a phone call, met you in person, had a Skype or a Zoom or whatever, and listen to what it is that you're looking for. What do you want to get from your money? What is the best strategy for you? And then talk through some of the options, talk through what it is you want to invest in, and understand your needs as a foreign investor. So when they provide deals to you, they're not wasting your time. None of us like to have our time wasted, so why would you want to spend time looking at HMOs when you only want to buy single lets? Or vice versa. You want to know that the person sending you deals is actually looking after you and sending you the deals that you're interested in, but also someone who actually knows their stuff. So see, do they have a reputation? Do other people use them? Do other people recommend them? Are they active in all the sort of standard online portals you'd expect to find people? Do they seem to know what they're talking about? It's okay if they have ups and downs, everyone does, but do they genuinely know what they're doing, and do they genuinely take their reputation? Do they genuinely want to help people they're working with, or just after a quick buck? You're also going to need to look at your mortgage broker. Does your mortgage broker actually know all of the lenders in the market? Do they know all of the options open to them when it comes to financing the purchase of a house, either through bridging or for mortgages? And can they speak to people who live abroad? You need to speak with your broker and find out how good they are. Begin to ask questions, and if they kind of go, oh no, you can't do that, or that you have to do something that seems a bit not as good as it could be, then you need to speak to somebody else. Put some feelers out there, ask people. For me, I have my brokers that I'm more than happy to send over and speak to my clients. They're not there to help me, they're there to help my clients. And you need to make sure you have a broker who can do that for you. And I personally think a source that's dealing with foreign investors should have a power team that specializes in foreign investors that they can put in touch with their clients, again, so that client has a proper hand-holding service and they're looked after right from day one. The last thing you're really going to need is a really good project manager. Now, if you're doing any form of refurb work, you need someone on the ground managing those tradesmen and making sure things are done on time and on budget. They're viewing the house quite regularly. They're almost like they could be a handyman if it's a small single let stuff, or it could be a full-on project manager or build team depending on how big your refurb project is. But you need someone who knows their trade. Now, again, as a sourcer, I think your sourcer should know these types of people, and part of the due diligence on that house is they would have spoken to builders about any refurb that's necessary, about any touching up or TLC on the property, and they should have those people in the areas you will be able to speak to should you wish. On top of that, look for a sourcer that offers to do all this for you, that offers to take all this hassle, these phone calls out of the way. So all you have to do is make 3 or 4 phone calls at the start, get to know your sourcer, get to know your broker, get to know how it is you're going to get money into the UK, and let the sourcer handle everything else. But be in contact with them regularly so you constantly know what's going on with your properties, with your money. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you liked the video, if you found it helpful, please drop us a like, give us a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.